Good morning, it's Liam Neild here with the MU review for Manchester United's 1-0 FA Cup third round victory over Sheffield United. And to be honest, the less said about this game the better, so I'm going to try and make this quick. Very poor performance. Anyone who saw the game could tell me that. I thought that, going up against League One opposition at Old Trafford, I don't care what form you're in, you should smash them. I mean, Norwich City could have smashed these guys. They're not a top-notch side. They're not even a top-notch side in League One, so I don't understand why it took us, 90 plus minutes to break through and then required a penalty kick to break through. It really just is the story of our season. One of the most laboured performances I've ever seen Man United put in, and anyone who's been watching United play this season know that that is saying a hell of a lot, because we have had some bore 0-0 draws this season, and this was almost and probably should have been another one to add to the list. I think Sheffield United were very unlucky in the end. They defended well, they played as well as they possibly could have. Really didn't really have a single chance to score against us, but don't let that encourage us to actually go and attack them or anything, but it just looked like we were heading for a replay. And the position we're in right now, the last thing we need is extra games, especially away matches in the FA Cup against lower league opposition that are going to be really up for it. So I'm glad that we ultimately did get the victory, but bloody hell, that was one of the hardest 90 minutes to watch this season. That's the closest I've ever come to falling asleep watching Manchester United play. And I mean, this is a problem. It's a problem that doesn't seem to have any sort of immediate solution. I don't think sacking Louis van Gaal will do anything. In fact, I think that would make things worse. I think we need the continuity. But it's become abundantly clear that he's not going to change his philosophy, that he's not going to change his style, and that we're just going to have to accept the fact that he's going to play a certain way, and hopefully the players will begin to perform in such a way that makes that style more effective. But the way it's gone this season, you don't really see it happening. But ultimately, I mean, the thing that I took away from the game, especially, with the fact we started Maro and Fellaini, is that we really don't have a backup plan. If you call Fellaini our backup plan, what's our backup plan when he starts? I'll give it to Memphis Depay. I thought he played very well today, and he's been one of those players who's very much been in fits and starts this season. He's either completely anonymous in the game or actively bad, or he's an absolute world beater. We saw him against Club Brugge at the beginning of the season, just lit up the pitch at Old Trafford. That was probably the one and only time that you really looked and saw him as, the new number 7 of Man United. But he come off the bench today, and, fair play to him. A lot of players, other players who may have worn that number 7 shirt, I'm looking at you, Di Maria, might have taken a bit negatively to being benched by Louis van Gaal. But it seems like he's really taking it on board. He understands what the manager's trying to do with him, and he's going to try and make an impact when he comes on, and that's exactly what he did. He won the penalty, and he got us the victory, really. I mean, yeah, Wayne Rooney's the one who had to step up and keep his nerve and put it away, but I'm going to give Memphis Depay man of the match for that, but ultimately, the fact that we don't have a backup plan, Memphis Depay, you can't call him a backup plan. We don't have any sort of plan to deal with the fact that teams are going to come to Old Trafford and park the bus for 90 minutes and get a 0-0. We can't just leave a 0-0 on the table for anyone who wants it. We need to adjust. And every day that one of these things happens and Louis van Gaal says, oh yes, well, it's very difficult to defend against teams or to attack against teams with 10 men behind the ball. And I say, well, yeah, it's difficult, but it's a lot easier if you actually change what you're doing. One of my personal life mottos is, if you always do what you've always done, you're always going to get what you've always gotten. And that's exactly the way I feel about Man United this season, especially at home. We have played a certain way, and more often than not, we have been kept shut out of our own goal by other teams who aren't that good. And it's not acceptable. It really isn't. And, it's one thing to have a philosophy and to have faith in it, but you've also got to be adaptable. And a man who's gotten, the amount of, success that he's had over the course of a very long and prestigious career, he really should realise, okay, something's not right here. I need to change something. And he just doesn't seem to look inward. He seems to blame everybody except himself, and I'm a little annoyed with that, but I'm going to stick by him. I think Man United will stick by him at least until the end of the season, and then we'll see where we are. If we don't qualify for the Champions League, he's got to go. That's just because then we're going backwards, and as soon as United start going backwards, we need to really change at the top level. Ryan Giggs might be a decent replacement, but honestly, I wouldn't be against him going and taking the Swansea job, and having himself, a couple of years of experience managing a Premier League team, because Manchester United is a phenomenal responsibility, and as good as he was playing for us, the man has no managerial experience. And sure, it works for Barcelona in Spain, it might work for Real Madrid with Zidane. I still find it hard to believe that Ryan Giggs is going to become an instant success if he goes into the Man United job. Now, obviously, there are managers that are going to be available in the summer. Mourinho is still available, not that I want him. Pep Guardiola would probably be my choice, but it seems like he's destined for either City or Chelsea. So, ultimately, we do have to look at our options at the end of the season and see, where we are. For all we know, we're going to go on a 6-7 game winning streak like we did in April of last year that almost took us into the top two. And in this year's league, a 6 or 7 game winning streak gets you to the top of the league. So I'm going to withhold that kind of judgment until we see what happens. But something has to change in terms of our style of play and in terms of the way we're going about things. Otherwise, we're just going to keep getting bored to tears and keep getting 0-0s at Old Trafford. And that can't go on. He won't retain the support of the fans if he even is continuing to do that. He won't retain the support of the players if he's even continuing to do that. And he will not retain the support of the board. That seems to be the only one of those facets that he seems to still have in hand, which is funny because most managers these days in the Premier League are the opposite. But yeah, we got very lucky, but in the end, results are results. We got through to the fourth round, and in the FA Cup, that's all that really matters. Hopefully, we'll get, a I'm sort of, hoping to get, Oxford United or Eastleigh or someone really small at Old Trafford in the next round just to give us a bit of an easy time. But we've proved this round that maybe we'd be better off playing a decent team because we actually seem to, have a different game plan when teams actually come at us and open themselves up. We're more successful. So I don't know. Let's just see how it goes. I would love us to win the FA Cup. It's been ages since we won the FA Cup, and Arsenal just overtook us for most FA Cups in history, and I have a real problem with that. So hopefully, if Van Gaal can get us in the top four and win us the FA Cup, I think he gets himself his last year of his contract. If he doesn't do those things, I really worry about it. But anyway, if you have anything to say about the game, you want to talk to me about anything, comment on the video. I'll respond. I love having conversations about these things. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.